Welcome. Back to this page. Week 26, Devil's Advocate Part 2. Right, no one's above the law because even one exception is an excuse and grounds for pushback from the true deplorable criminals that would allow them to get away scot-free while innocents are suffering. And then here's my review portion where bullet point 1 was that no one's above the law because all the laws have a baseline for every single crime. Point number 2 was understanding the whole point and purpose of each of the sectors. The whole courthouse is there to establish, are you a criminal in accordance to the law or are you not? And if you are a criminal, what is the purpose of each of the people in this legal proceeding process, where the prosecution is there to ensure that the full maximum throw the book at you is being upheld, as much as the client to that prosecution who's making claims is saying. Then there's the defense who's going to be there to support the fact that you are innocent. Okay, you're not so innocent, and now everyone knows it. I'm going to establish a baseline and help you work that full book punishment down as much as possible in accordance to the law. Then you have the jurisdiction of the judge and the jury, where those are your actual deciding factors. They are the determinants to, in accordance to this baseline punishment, whether it goes up or whether it can come down. Right? Both the judge and jury are the deciding factors on that. And there are particular terms and conditions that support that, especially namely in the phrasing, because everything legal is very particular, right? So if you're in the arc of this example narrative, you are guilty and you're deciding, right? They're deciding your future. So, hey, you are hereby convicted and sentenced to X years and blank particular fine in accordance to the law, right? That is the book in accordance to what the judge knows and what the prosecution was determining that they wanted you to suffer, right? The follow-up sentences are the ones that you want to listen for, as far as how good or how bad did your defense attorney do in supporting you and getting that punishment reduced. Again, the example I gave was that in light of blah, 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 the years will be cut in half and you will have the opportunity of parole against what the DA, district attorney, or against what the prosecution is claiming you should have. It's being cut in half, and you do get that opportunity parole, even though the DA didn't want you to, right? And with opportunity of good behavior, you can go home early, as well as reduce the fine, which was payable to that, in lieu of blah, blah, blah. Like, say, in lieu of the fact that you are a police member or a veteran or whatever, you could also have the fine waived, as whatever court fees of this trial will be paid, blah, 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 and paid by the police department or your division commander as whatever, right? There are precedents, not exceptions to the rule, not excuses. They are precedents for lighter and reduced sentences. Right? Only reduced, not eliminated, is the key factor here. Because no one's above the law, even one exception would make it very inexcusable that allows criminals to get away scot-free while innocent suffer. There can be no exceptions, right? That's why the law and legal system is particular. It's not much that the system in place for courts, at least here in America, is corrupt. It's the whole aspect of the people are corrupt. And there's always corrupt and manipulated people in all industries and all walks of life. There are corrupted and less legitimate individuals the more you look deeper and deeper into it. Because the common phrase everyone likes to use is nobody's perfect. That's why the law is perfect, right? The law is perfect because no one else is. And if you're finding that someone is in and of the law is extremely imperfect and it's making the legal system churn out not the perfect results it was made to, expose them. And they too will be tried by the law, right? This is right where the last point there for the review piece was the fact that, where'd it go? The way I described it from the sectors, the whole purpose of the court to the purpose of the defense, prosecution, the jury, and the judge, that is how the founding fathers intended it when they established the courts and Congress. That is how it's done. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty, and that those are the roles of everyone in the courtroom after deciding, yes, you are guilty. Now what will we do with you? Right? Because even after you establish guilty, there's still the argument of how severe should your punishment be, right? And it's much easier to establish that when you admit, yes, I'm guilty, okay, and any other comments you would like to say on your own behalf and so on and so forth, any statements, any plea deals, any agreements, go for it. But if you're going to go in there and say, I'm not guilty, you're already caught for lying, and that's a whole separate charge. I'm not guilty. I'm not guilty. Well, we proved it, and now nothing you say is viable and credible. Your defense attorney can say very minimal, so you're probably going to get more and more and more of this punishment because you're not all that honest, right? There used to be a time and a number of prisons in America where there wasn't cells. I can't remember all of them, but I know one of them was in Texas and there was one in Florida. The prisons didn't really have doors. It was a trust and honesty system where even people with life sentences didn't need cell doors because they understood, like, yeah, I belong here. I'm not going to hurt the guards. I'm not going to do nothing. Yeah, I got caught. There are a number of prisons like that. Like, no, I'm not going to hurt this normal dude just doing his job. It's whatever. It's fine. Right? There were at least 5 in America. Prisons without doors, and there was never an escapee or runaway or nothing. It worked off the honesty system, and they never had any problems. Now there are cell doors, and we are having more and more problems than ever because no one's honest, and everyone's more corrupt than back in the day when we didn't need doors. Crazy. Right? So that was definitely a divergent fun fact for you to match the Friday theme. But yeah, this is the capitalist society, America, where even most American soldiers are coming out and attesting to being told that their government is just another business. If the government itself is a business, that's just another form of corruption. Because when military members are being told you got to know how to manipulate and milk the system to have it serve you as you service the country, you are a service member with a gun and orders. It's not a good look, and it's not a good feeling for a lot of them, right? And all that to get down to the very last point I didn't talk about in the last video. So, of course, courthouses with many legal companies attached and a corrupt 2 or 12, it's more or less obvious which elects or entire departments and deputies are learning and being taught or thinking divergently to the mandation, right? And it's that perversion of the courts that puts many off of the legal department information and handling. I started writing tiny there because I was running out of room on the page. But yes, the last two there, well, last three, are all pretty much connected, because the last point in the review and the last point in general both are playing off the fact of everyone's role in the courtroom, everyone's purpose of the courthouse, where the second one is establishing, like, hey, that is the whole purpose of point 3. Point 3 telling you the purpose of the courthouse and the court and everyone's purpose inside the courthouse and the court. And then point number 4 here, which was the one right before, is saying, like, hey, it's good like that. It makes a great system with minimal flaws, none that you could probably see, obviously. That is the good way and only best way anyone could ever have made it, right? That's the way the founding fathers wanted it, and that's the greatness about it, right? But in a greedy society, not to say that capitalism is definitively greedy, but there is plenty to note about that, right? In a capitalist society, America, where the elect members are getting corrupted to the point where they teach other people how to be corrupt and greedy for personal gain against the direct wishes that, hey, you should be doing the right things in accordance to your position, not just your personal bias, especially not the judge. The judge is supposed to be there unbiased and act in accordance to what is brought into the court specifically, right? The jury is supposed to be a more biased deciding factor, because they're just ordinary people who don't have 20 million documents memorized to counter-reference and all that good and jazz. The judge is there to be an unbiased, firm attachment, adherence to the gospel of legality and all its particularities. The jury is there to be the biased version of a judge, right? And then you have your two lawyers, the defense and the prosecution. Those are both performatively biased, or at least should be performatively biased, extremely biased for their client. Even if the defense attorney knows gush and darn well this guy is 100% guilty, my job is to perform for him and perform biasly for my client, because that is my purpose in this courtroom. Whether I like it or not, my job is to be biased for them, right? And then you have so that is the way the founding fathers do it. But because capitalism and all the greediness, there are people that move out of that proper performance, be it bias, be it unbiased roles in the courtroom, because there are people that go out of that and they stave away and diverge from all that, as more people throughout the nation are going more progressive and more innovative to a lot of aspects of change. It is a most unfortunate truth that the legal system is deteriorating, not because it was ever wrong to begin with, but because people want it to be changed, despite it already being as great as it could ever be made to be by anyone. which is most unfortunate, right? And because people who aren't actually performing their roles properly continue to go out and screw everything up, they're giving the whole system a bad rep. They're making every aspect from the laymen and the commoners to be a very, I can't even say based in biased opinionation. It's a very misinformation take being spread that fosters hate for the whole system, right? The system is corrupt. The system sucks. No, the system is great. The people freaking suck because people are corrupt. The system is actually very stringent, very particular, and very just and honest. The people are the dishonest ones, and the people enforcing it and going about doing their jobs are the ones ruining the duties and responsibilities and the jobs and the lives of everyone affected by them not doing their jobs properly. They're doing their jobs, but they're not doing it properly, and now you have a bad opinion of the system because the people in the positions of power to do it properly are doing it wrong, and everyone can see the result of them doing it wrong and not fixing it or fixing themselves either, which truly sucks. But that's unfortunately the truth. The courthouses with all their many legal companies and corruptions, be it 1, 2, or 12, it's more or less obvious who are the ones not doing their jobs. Anytime people want to bring it up, you can easily spot which ones are and which ones are not doing their jobs, because it comes more and more obvious. The more we talk about it, the more you lean into it, right? So, yeah, it becomes more and more obvious which elects or entire departments are learning it wrong, being taught wrong, or following up and enforcing it very wrong, right? And it's that very perversion of the people in the system that gives everyone the bad taste in the mouth, the bad opinions, the bad misinformation being fostered and spread about the system and the legalities and the way the law works. No one's above the law, but that one got away. No one's above the law, but that one's accepting bribes. No one's above the law. No one's above the law. No one's above the law. The whole point of the law is that no one's above it, and everyone is proven guilty and proven innocent until they're proven guilty. Oh, man, I messed that up. Was a little Sigmund Freud there, action. Everyone's innocent and proven guilty, right? It's because no one's above the law and everyone's innocent and proven guilty, right? The moment we start allowing exceptions to be made, the criminals will dig into those loopholes, dig into those corrupt people, and allow themselves to get away scot-free while only the innocent, honest Daves out here are suffering day in and day out. If you feel like you're suffering and it's the system's fault, it's not the system's fault. It's the corrupt people who allowed exceptions to be made to the rules that you don't know about because you're being good and an upstanding individual. Rules and exceptions to the rules that any and every criminal is going to know about because they operate in that shadowy area day in and day out, right? These criminals know all about that stuff. The criminals know all about it. You're the one left out, and you're the one stuck hurting for all of it. So, hey man, you gotta be careful. Got to be a bit more careful about it. Because it always sucks when it goes around and comes around. It stinks. Okay? But it's not a fault in the system. It's a fault of the people. It's not a fault of the system. It's a fault of the corrupt and the criminals, allowing exceptions to be made, and it's more so a bigger, what's the word? I don't want to say responsibility. It's an oversight. That's the best word I can come with right now. It's a bigger oversight of the people training the next generation. It's an oversight of the continuously honest, that the dishonest and the corrupt make it in and make it through. It's an oversight of the hopeful, that the gullible are getting tricked, swindled, and corrupted. It's an oversight not of the system, not of the founding fathers that made and initiated the system. It's an oversight of we the people, we the laymen's, allowing the screwed up to go far, because it should have never really made it this far, because the original system was made extremely well. The original system was made extremely well. Golly. But yes, hey, that is just me, your Millenia Mailman. With the second part of week 26 Devil's Advocate Hot Take. No one's above the law, because even one exception is an excuse that'll be used as grounds for the pushback from the truly deplorable criminals, in order for them to get away scot-free while the innocents suffer. Right? Those are all those are all 5 talking points I had about it, and the review and the further discussion for the week 26 Devil's Advocate Hot Take on the fact that no one is above the American law. Alright? No one's above the law, because even one exception is grounds for criminals to get away scot-free while the innocents suffer. Right? Week 26 Devil's Advocate. Comment down in the comments section down below your comments, thoughts, opinions. Share the video for more exposure. Subscribe if you feel like it. Of course, dislike the video if you don't. And like the video if you had anything in the video you particularly agree with. Alright? Contact me for further discussion on the topic at the email, milleniamailman@gmail.com. Go ahead, donate to the GoFundMe. Not because I'm under any financial pressure or anything, but just if you really want your opinion about the channel or about the book to be furthered, I'm going to treat all your comments on the book negatively as trolls. If I think your comments are very seditious, I'm not sure if that's a word or the proper word. If I think your comments are troll-like, I'm going to ignore them unless you're donating. Even if you donate $1, I will take your comment extremely seriously, because you're putting your money where your mouth is. Right? I don't feel like starting a Patreon because I'm a little lazy. I know making GoFundMes is easy, so all the links to the GoFundMe opportunities and options are in that description box down below. Copy, paste the link. I don't think I activated the hyperlink because just felt a bit more disingenuous. So, hey, peace.